Hello, I am Claudia Morales with the Music Division, and today I am excited to be in conversation with Cuban American composer, conductor, educator, and arts advocate Tania Leon. Tania, it is great to have you here. Welcome to the Library of Congress.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. We appreciate you so much. So before we sat down for this conversation, we had some time viewing some material from our collection.
Yes.
What caught your eye and what is your reaction to what you saw?
Well, to see the handwriting of these composers, there was no computers at that time. So, and to see what I normally see many composers, you change your mind, so you scribble something, or might get a line that goes to a certain direction, or it was actually very interesting in Mendelssohn, Bartholdy, there were actually measures that were empty, but he had about 20. So he's like, what am I going to do with these now? It having tremendous, and Bartok, and to see how meticulous the writing was, and it's plus it's having in my hands centuries.
And you have a close relationship with Bartok. Yes. He has a very special place in your career. What is that?
Yes. My teacher, his advocacy was contemporary music. And he is the one that introduced me to contemporary music for the first time, and precisely Bartok, because he wanted me to play the Mikrokosmos, which is a series of etudes for the piano. And I don't know, but I started playing that music and it spoke to me. The same way, in different aspects, but the same way that Chopin or Debussy or Brahms, Yeah.
Tania, you are, as I mentioned, you are a composer, a conductor, an educator, and you do it all pretty much at the same time. How are those three areas of your career intertwined? How do they feed each other?
Well, for me, I don't think about it. One is an extension of the other, and I feel for all of them. And I learn tremendously, specifically conducting music written by contemporaries, or non-contemporaries. Because, you get inside the mind, at least for me, is getting inside the mind of the composer. And seeing their perspective in sound, and perhaps, trying to discern what was the message. Because nowadays we have a lot of program notes. I respect program notes, but I don't know, it gives me the sensation that I'm telling the audience how to listen to the piece. And maybe the audience doesn't feel that they are capable of listening to something and get their own conclusions.
Interesting. Yeah.
So there's a good thing, but there's also, I believe in deep listening, being in the present as you listen, but not trying to understand someone's recipe, and then you're listening differently. At least that's my humble opinion. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. I'm going to ponder on that. When, as a composer, you work for big orchestras, small ensembles, individual artists, different ensembles. How do you start the process? Do you start with the rhythm, with the melody, with the concept? What is your process like?
Well, my process is that I get engaged about what I'm going to do. Let's assume, the piece that I just wrote for Jennifer. And there's many elements. that involves the process of creation. Because I start hearing the piece. Even before I have written it, I hear these flashes that come to my mind. It's like my mind is focusing. Even if I am in a grocery store, all of a sudden I get these flashes all of a sudden, and I write many sketches based on those flashes. And usually, you know, everything that I write, I hear it. It's like having a radio in your head, and I hear it.
And you were telling me that you still write in paper.
Oh yes.
That's your first approach.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. I need that contact of my hands and my arm,
Yeah.
my body. You know.
Do you use the piano as well when you are writing?
Not necessarily.
Sometimes.
No. Maybe at the end to try certain things. You know, specifically some harmonies that I create myself. You know, but no, usually no.
So everything is in your head.
It's in my head, you know. I mean, I have a hypothesis, and that is that I started studying music when I was 4 years old, and you know, constantly into a French training, which is all solfège. So I can read a piece of music, and immediately I'm hearing everything that I'm reading, because I mean the notes are as though I had a piano in my head. It's very strange. So therefore, I mean, for me to write without a piano is no problem.
And what is your opinion about people that write music with software and with instruments?
Well, it's like everything. Now we use the smartphone.
Many people do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I mean, you are sometimes, you know, you encounter the telephones of the past. And even the smartphone, I mean, the way it started, it was this thing with this big battery box.
Right. Yeah.
And you see the dial, you know, phone, or the phone that had the thing that you had to actually be. It's fantastic to see the evolution of an idea. So many composers, you know, they use its software, you know, I mean, and they are inclined to do that. In my case, I need the paper. You know, something happens to me between me and the computer that is like, I feel that the computer wants to control me, you know, in a way, because I actually, besides that, I like to have my music reflect the way I write, the way I notate, you see? And that's why there are some experts now that are able to sort of like paint your notation, even using the computer, you see? Because I don't like when the computer, I do something and all of a sudden I'm seeing all these eighth notes and whole notes, and I say, no. It doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Going back in time, Dance Theater of Harlem. That's part of your beginnings in New York.
Yeah.
How, reflecting on that, and now you at this time, how do you think that moment set you to become Tania León today?
I really don't know, because the way I met Arthur Mitchell was, I don't know, it probably was put together by the universe, because I was not supposed to go to this place. I just went to replace a friend of mine, you know, from NYU. She was ill, she had a flu or something, and she told me if I could go that Saturday to replace her, because I mean, she played for ballet lessons in a school that later I found out was called the Harlem School of the Arts. You know? And I went there and I met the person that was the founder of the school. It was a woman called Dorothy Maynard. I didn't know who she was. Later I found out she was a very famous singer, opera singer, that created this school to help the impoverished children, you know. So I went there to replace my friend. Even that I didn't speak English, it didn't matter. No, you have the book, you know the 3, 4, the marches, you know.
That
And
was your language, yeah.
She explained everything to me, so no problem, you know. And that's, you know, one of the instances that I was by myself. I couldn't get out of the room. I didn't know how to talk to anybody. So I stayed in a room. I didn't have a piano. I was staying with friends. It was an opportunity to enjoy a baby grand. So I was just having fun. And this man opened the door and crossed. And it was interesting because when he crossed the room, I don't know why I followed him all the way until he disappeared. You know, his demeanor, his something, some kind of electricity that I felt. And later on, he opened the door and he came to me when I was by myself again, enjoying the piano. And that's how I told him no English, you know. And he just started playing with me and saying, "Mamacita." And I was thinking, who's this guy?
That's funny.
And well, the thing is that then about 2 weeks after, I mean, somebody called me in Spanish and told me if I could go back to the same place because this gentleman wanted me to play the piano for him. And I got there, and the room was a gym, you know, and it has you know, he had 4 very young dancers and a bar in the middle. And we were talking about Mendelssohn marking the rhythm with a stick, right? He had a stick, and he started counting on a 1 and a 2, and he was doing the stick. And I borrowed the books from my friend, and then you know, so I started looking, you know, for what to play out of the book, and he said, no books. It's like he wanted me to follow him.
Ah, I see.
You know, so I started improvising based on the movement and voice and based on the, you know, and that's how we started.
And
So
that
then he
lasted-
wanted me to continue, you know, being his pianist, until one day, you know, he explained to me, or I was explained that he had a project in mind that he would like for me to be part of. And that's the birth of the Dance Theater of Harlem. It had no name at that time or anything like that. And then all these incredible people started coming in. The first person that came in was Cicely Tyson. And she helped us, you know, along with him, because I was a very shy person. I was so shy.
I cannot believe that.
Yes, I did a recital, and the critics talk about how shy I was. Because the people would applaud. I mean, they were applauding, you know, after the recital, and I ran out of the stage. It's like,
I cannot believe that.
yeah. But they are the ones that sort of like, no, you have to project, you have to stand this way, you have to bow this way. Yeah.
Tanya, throughout your career, your music, you have always, not always, but many times include your Afro-Cuban roots, your rhythm. Not only Afro-Cuban, but music from Latin America and the Caribbean. How did you decide to do that at that time? That was pretty much never heard of. And why did you decide to take the risk at that moment?
Well, first of all, in Cuba, which I mean, I'm talking about the roots of that idea in Cuba, there were 2 musicians at the beginning of 2 centuries ago that, beginning of 2 centuries ago, that wanted to, the elements of the Cuban music, which is a melange of influences of the different communities that came from different parts of the world, including the Africanos, you see? they wanted to actually bring that into symphonic orchestras, right? And that one is Amadeo Roldán, and the other one, Alejandro Garcia Caturla, you know? And they both died in their 30s. And since then, at least the Cuban composers that practice the craft of art music are starting to also bring those elements, you know?
But you took that risk here in New York.
Well, and the person, you know, I always give him credit that actually said something to me that didn't have anything to do with that. However, that's how I received the message, was my father.
What did he
Because,
say?
I mean, when I saw him for the first time after 12 years, I brought my music, what I have written in cassettes. And then, you know, the day before I was leaving back to the United States, he said, your music is very interesting, but where are you in your music? And I didn't know what he meant. You know, I think that the shock is that months after he collapsed and he died. And I didn't have a chance to discuss with him that. And that is when, I mean, I don't know, something happened to me that I started sort of like trying to discern what he meant. And I wrote a piece, you know, right after he died, you know, it's called 4 Pieces for Cello. And in one of the movements, that is when I started sort of like bringing in some kind of rhythmical fractures, elements, you know, of the Cuban clave, you know. And I actually, at some point, I turned the cello into a conga drum, you know. And I don't know, but the musicians loved it. The musicians, I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, the people that started playing these pieces, they wanted to play the piece because that movement. And I don't know, it might be a reaction to that, but that's how I started exploring that kind of influence, you see, which is actually all over Latin America.
Right.
The only thing is that each country have contributed
Right.
a certain aspect.
Right.
It's like there is a dispute about the habanera, you know, or the habanera. I mean, habanera is from Cuba or is from Mexico. You see? Because everybody has a hypothesis of how the whole thing started.
Right.
You know, and then and these rhythms became also very, very, very well known because, I mean, at that point there was a lot of ships that went through Cuba, and then the sailors will learn these pieces or sing these pieces. It's like one that became very, very, very famous among those pieces is El Manicero. And then they went to all their countries and they started singing this. You see? And there were actually also, I mean, very famous Cuban singers that then started disseminating all of this. And this is how the music of Cuba becomes international all of a sudden.
It's interesting because at that time, when you came back from seeing your father, it's like you had an option. You could have continued in the same trajectory, or you could include yourself, right? Bring your persona into your music. And you chose the latter one. You chose that route. Was it difficult?
No,
No?
because it was inside of me. And that's what I got it, you know? I mean, he said, where are you in your music?
Right.
You know?
In terms of the audience, in terms of the field.
In terms of the sound, you know, because, I mean, at first when I started studying composition, which was not in my mind to be a composer, I was going to be a concert pianist. I was going to go to Paris to study with Nadia Boulanger and be there at the conservatory. I mean, I assumed that they will take me, period. You know?
Right.
So I was going to Paris, and this is what I'm going to do. And the thing is that In Cuba, you know, my brother used to have a group. And with that group, you know, I mean, to play for places or for birthdays and things like that. And my brother and I, we used to do songs to sing as a duet.
Oh,
Yeah. That I did. Never thinking that I was going to be a composer. Ever. That was not my thing. But Arthur, one day, you know, out of these improvisations, he's the one that turned and he said, write something, I'm going to do choreography. And of
that's
course,
how it
by
started.
then,
Yeah.
I found out who he was. I found out, you know, he introduced me to George Balanchine. I found out that Stravinsky had written for him. I was like, what? I started, working with him. I didn't know who he was. The only thing that I know, he looked very good. He was so attractive. Yes, something about him and the way he moved and the way he, you know, I mean, somebody with purpose, you see?
Yeah, yeah. But back to the question. So when you start introducing those rhythms into your music, the community, the field accepted that music. There was no pushback. There wasn't anything like that, or was it?
Well, no, I don't
No?
think so. I mean, my pieces that started having that influence started attracting a community of musicians or of interpreters, you see? And I was not doing it as a gimmick, you know? I did it because, as my father said, it was inside of me. And I was not giving it a chance to be part of what I did, you see?
Yeah.
And now I have a collection of pieces. Not all the pieces are like that, you
Of
know.
course.
But I have a collection of pieces that you can trace my growth and my. I would say that now I'm confident. You know, I'm not ashamed of doing that.
That's what I love about aging, right? Too, because you feel so, one feels so strong about
Yeah.
who you are.
But the thing is that I find that in Beethoven. And I find that in Debussy. I find, you know, I mean, composers become, their sound becomes who they become.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, and Debussy has an influence of the gamelan. You know, I mean, he's French, and if Bizet writes the opera Carmen, he's not Spanish. I mean, so you see.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is the kind of thing that I talked that, and one of the composers in the United States I feel for is Aaron Copland. And Aaron Copland wrote Salon Mexico. You know, I mean, so there's no frontiers.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah. So, and that's how I feel about the music of. The only thing is that I really. I have a problem about the categorization of music. You see? Because, I mean, when you label something, you really are not having an in-depth understanding of what you're listening to. And the music of Latin America is a hybrid of many communities of people. I mean, come on. The music of Argentina without the Italians.
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is the thing that I speak about Cuba, the music of Cuba, without the Amerindians, without the Spanish, without the Africans. And then later on, because without the people of Asia. That's the music of Cuba. You see?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's why I don't categorize, because I mean, we should have a little bit more understanding of what we're listening to.
Back to contemporary times. You, in 2021, you won the Pulitzer Prize for Music.
Yeah.
And in 2022, you were given the Kennedy Center Honors.
Yeah.
How has that changed or propelled you in your career?
Well, Yeah, it has been a surprising turn of events, you know, because I mean, it's like people want to hear what I write, or I get all these commissions, and I have this. I mean, it's like those that don't know or didn't know what I do, they want to find out. See, and those are pivotal moments in my life, because I still remember how I arrived, and I still remember how I met Arthur, and I still have in my consciousness the Tanya that didn't speak English, and that was very afraid, you know, when I arrived in New York, because I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh my God, you know? I mean, coming from Havana, and then all of a sudden seeing these big buildings and so many people in the streets. And it's like when I brought my mother for the first time, you know, to stay with me a couple of months. And we were on Fifth Avenue. And then all of a sudden my mother said, why everybody's running? I said, Mima, people walk fast. You know? She noticed that. And the end of the anecdotes is that before she left, we were walking in New York, and I see my mother ahead of me. I said, what are you doing? And she said, I'm in New York.
So very hurry.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, so those some anecdotes, you know, because it happened to me. You know, I arrived and I was very frightened. It's a change of culture. It's a change of pace. And besides, when I arrived, you know, I mean, it was a Vietnam War, the civil rights. I mean, I saw for the first time in my life on television the marches with Martin Luther King. He was alive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with the whole thing. And besides that, without English, yeah,
Who helped you?
the universe. And my friends that offered me a sofa in the Bronx.
And were your friends here? Do you know some friends before?
Yes,
okay.
yes. Sarita and Fernando, they both passed because they were older. And she was a guitarist. He was a devotee of music. He loved her, you know. And when I was in Miami, I called them and I said, you know, I need to go to New York because that's where music is. And they said, we have a sofa, come. And that's how actually they picked me up the night and that's another anecdote, you know, because I mean, they lived in the Bronx. And when we got into the Bronx and I saw the buildings with the fire stairs on the outside, I started saying, Maria, Maria, Maria. And they didn't know what I was talking about. And I said, there is a composer that wrote something. And there is a guy singing one of those stairs, you know, and the song is called Maria.
That's funny.
So, I mean, all these things I remember when things like that happen. That it's not that I am not there, but it's like the trajectory of how this happened.
Yeah, yeah.
As something that was not in my plan. I was going to live in Paris and play the piano because I admire Martha Argerich, and I wanted to be like her.
You have a long relationship with the Library of Congress. You have written 3 commissions.
Yeah.
And tonight we're here because we are premiering your most recent commission, your McKim Commission. And it's going to be performed by Jennifer Coe and Tom Sauer.
Yeah.
How was the process of writing that piece?
Well, first of all, I have a wonderful relationship with Jennifer. She's an artist I admire. And during the pandemic, we worked on a project. I wrote a piece for an incredible project that she had to help those that didn't have a job at that time, musicians. And since then, you know, she said, you know, In fact, she had been talking to me about writing a concerto. And then finally she called me, and then you called, and all of a sudden it had to do with her. And I said, by all means, yes. So I started actually putting ideas together and things like that. And then, you know, we had rehearsals in her apartment. And the rest is history.
So this is an anecdote. As Tanya said, this project started before the pandemic. This is pre-pandemic. We met in January of 2020, before the world shut it down. And we had this idea about this project, and then she won the Pulitzer Prize and then the Kennedy Center honors. So the project started delaying. So it's taken us 5 years to be here tonight. So this is a true celebration. We have so many things to celebrate tonight. And I appreciate you being determined to complete this project and to giving us the space. So thank you, Tanya, for that. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity.
One last question. Your music now is being played by different generations. You see young musicians playing your music, orchestra, as I said before. How does it feel to see the new wave of musicians playing Tania León?
Well, you know, I mean, it might surprise you. I'm still the little girl, 4 years old. I have no idea what happened.
I love that. Yeah.
I have no idea. You know, my grandmother saw me, you know, involved with the radio and changing the stations and dancing to the rhythm and singing the same pitches. And she's the one that rushed me to a conservatory and said she has something to do with it, you know. But I remember of of that time, one of the things that I will never forget is that I did my first recital when I was 5, you know, and I played these little pieces, you know. And then my grandmother came running on the aisle of the theater with a bouquet of flowers, little roses. You know, whatever is left of that is with me.
Oh, wow.
I have it. And it's in the archives now at Columbia University.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember my grandmother and the bouquet of flowers.
That's
You
so
see?
special.
So these are moments, you know, that touches your life. It's like meeting Arthur. I remember that moment. But it was a moment that you don't have consciousness. You live through the moment. You see? It's like meeting Arthur. I didn't know he was going to change my life.
Yeah.
I didn't know that extreme, incredible coincidence is as though somebody planned that I would go for the first time to Harlem. And he will go for the first time looking for a place to start his thing. And we both met. Like, it was a chance situation. I don't think so.
Tanya, we all are going to transition, right? We all are going to cross the rainbow someday. How do you want to be remembered?
Oh my God. Like Tania. You know, my grandmother used to call me Reinita. My grandfather used to call me La Doctora.
La doctora.
Arthur called me Taniacita. You know, I mean, all of that. You know, I mean, I still am here talking to you, and I can swear that I have no idea how this happened. I just don't know. It's not that we have to know.
Right, of
You see,
course. I know what you mean.
But it's everything is a surprise.
At the same time, Tanya, you are everywhere. You are here in Washington, D.C., you are in London, you are in New York. What is next for Tania León?
I just don't know. I have no idea. I just don't know.
What projects do you have on your belt right now?
Well, I am actually finishing a piece for the Albany Symphony. And then after that, I am there is something that I am part of, a piece called The People United Will Never Be Defeated by Fred Chesky. And that is a piece that many composers are going to orchestrate one of the variations. I'm orchestrating one of them. And that is a project that is actually the idea of Gustavo Dudamel, and it's going to be performed at the New York Philharmonic. So that is, when I finish this piece, that's the next thing. And I have projects,
I'm sure.
for years to come.
Tanya, thank you so much for making time. I know your schedule is incredible, so
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you for being here tonight, for making time for us, for being here with me.
Thank you so much.
And for the ones watching from home, see you next time.